Hi, Tim Stokes here, and welcome to this training on the 7 golden keys to unlock unlimited business and life success. What you're about to learn is proven information from 27 years of research and success. Strategies you can apply immediately to improve your business and see an increase in your business profits. Ways to conquer your everyday challenges with cash flow, employees, lack of time, and how to grow your business. A formula to follow for J-curve accelerating profit growth. Breakthrough strategies that cost you zero to apply. There's no theory here, all strategies are effective and 100% of everything you're about to see is proven to work. Who is this content for? It's especially suited to established traditional service and manufacturing business owners with 3+ years experience with 3 or more employees. Owners wanting higher profit margins and increasing cash levels in the bank to end stress with money permanently. Owners who want a breakthrough and a positive change for the better. Business owners with integrity who turn ideas into actions. Owners who understand profit margins matter to the most. Or people who want to work smart to enjoy a quality lifestyle. Do you feel like your hard work doesn't seem to get you ahead? If so, I know exactly how you feel. In my 30 years of building 5 businesses, it took 7 years of stress, struggle, and no growth while working 80 hours a week to realize I needed a practical education on business. That's when I made the decision to invest in training for myself to become successful by applying what I paid to learn. My business profits quadrupled over the next few years, and I reduced my work hours down to just 30 per week. That was just the start of my journey of success. So what do I define as unlimited success? Here are some examples of clients' results. Alan owns Precision Powder Coating, and when I first met him, he had a revenue of $400,000 with just the 1 employee. A few years later, his revenue is now $1.8 million, and he has a general manager in place and doesn't really need to work at all. He can choose to stay home, go fishing, work in his shed on his motorbikes, or take holidays as long as he likes. Marty owned an electrical maintenance business when we met, and he increased his net profit from $882,000 on a $4.2 million revenue to $2.3 million net profit on a $7.3 million revenue in just 12 months. He sold his share out of the business in his partnership and just took a couple of years off because he could. He then started a new business, and in 3 years he'd sold that business for $3 million to take more time out for his family. Then there's Chris, who owns White Light Electrical. He's an electrical contractor. His business was stagnant at $1.5 million and he was working 55 hours a week. He grew it to $5 million in 2 years with a $550,000 net profit increase, and he currently works 4 days a week, 32 hours a week, and holidays for 3 months at a time overseas as often as he likes. Then there's Brett, who owns Hetherington & Associates, an accounting firm. He attended a course with his clients, and his net profit in his firm increased 100% without more marketing or even obtaining more clients. And he said to me afterwards, "I've never seen so much cash in my bank." Then there's Danny, who preferred to be anonymous. He owns a direct sales company that was stagnant at $1.5 million and $150,000 in net profit. In the next 1 year, it grew to $10 million in revenue with a $1.8 million net profit. And then over the next few years, it went to $36 million in revenue and expanded into 3 countries. Then there's Clint, who owns Smith's Speedy Spark. He's an electrician, and he was working 80 hours a week when we first met. He said, "I have no life. My business works out of home and everything has to change." He was very driven, very motivated. And in the next 10 months, his business grew by 50% to 8 employees. He put a manager in place and then stopped working in it completely to travel with his family in a brand new motorhome for the next few years. With most of these remarkable outcomes, clients' businesses when we met were stagnant or struggling or even running at a loss, despite the owners working long hours. They didn't see huge potential waiting to be unlocked in their business. They just knew they wanted something different and something better for their business and life. These business and lifestyle improving results were all achieved by applying the 7 golden keys. Here's the background behind the 7 golden keys. In 1983, it began with working hard in my first business. I thought I had to work hard to get ahead, so that's exactly what I did for the next 7 years, but it resulted in no real growth or success. In 1990, I attended the E-Myth workshop by the author of the fantastic book, The E-Myth Revisited, and that was the start of $120,000 invested in research and education for myself as a project. In 1997, I entered the business coaching industry as a pilot, one of the first business coaches in Australia to develop processes and systems that are now used all over the world by thousands of business coaches and hundreds of thousands of businesses. Being featured in national business magazines with clients' results dating back to 1999. For the first 10 years of one-on-one coaching, solving all business owners' challenges, that's when I identified what the 7 golden keys formula was, and I put all that into a full business education program called the Academy of Business Mastery. The coming strategies you're about to learn to apply and benefit from are from the Academy of Business Mastery. This course is considered by hundreds of our clients to be the ultimate business education system because no other course includes all these. Ready-to-use systems. Instead of creating them and trying to find the time to create them, they're already included. Systems such as a full recruitment system from the ad to the interview process. Full management reporting suite. Every business, once it gets up to that multiple $1,000,000 revenue point, needs management reporting tools. These are supplied in the course, or yours are customized to suit the purpose of management for your business. You receive a custom plan to double your profits inside 12 months with the exact strategies you need to achieve that goal. Advice on your own business's figures during the course to discuss and review your sales, your marketing, your service work, your margins, and more. The world's best content researched for 27 years on 7 different topics. And strategies to scale your business by millions, just as you've seen clients have achieved, and to potentially hire a manager and to step out of your business so it can operate smoothly without you having to be there. To affirm the quality of what you're about to learn and see, this information has a public stamp of approval of business professionals with accounting firm recommendations. You can stop the video and read them in detail if you like. The 7 golden keys, when combined, conquer these common challenges in business. Motivation, drive, and belief in your success. Employee issues, finding good employees, retaining good employees without paying them more, how to motivate them, and even how to replace them or invite them to leave. Cash flow shortages, fluctuations, worry about money. Profitability, low net profit margins, competitors affecting your pricing. Stagnant or slow growth, can't afford to pay for marketing. How to grow your business and which strategies apply to your business, and to remove all that guesswork. A constant lack of time, dependency on you, and taking very few or no holidays in a year. Now I'll introduce you to the 7 golden keys identified from 10 years of mentoring hundreds of business owners to solve all their growth and lifestyle challenges. The first one is building your vision. The second, team building and recruitment. The third, the magic of measuring. The fourth, planning to achieve your goals. The fifth, systems for profit growth. 6, secrets of sales and marketing. And 7, management to leverage your time. All of these 7 keys may not seem much at first glance. However, after 10 years of testing each of these topics, implementing them in random order, it became overwhelmingly evident this is the J-curve profit and business growth formula that can achieve unlimited business and life success. The first and most important of all golden keys to success is building your vision. All great achievements began with a vision. It's how you change from being an employee to being a business owner. Do you still remember your dreams from when you started? Have some or all been achieved? It's time to become more focused on your vision. What you need to do is write down what you want your business and life to look like in 5 years' time by answering these questions. How many employees can you envision having? What revenue will your business be? What do you want to be paid? And do you want to still work in your business or not? To work 5 days a week, 4, 3, or even 0 days a week? These are 4 essential questions that I'd like you to stop the video right now and answer in writing. The reason this is so important is because the greatest research project into why people were wealthy and successful and why others weren't was conducted by the great Napoleon Hill. Napoleon Hill found that every great achievement began with a clear and compelling vision. It's the first step that's emphasized the most in his awesome book, Think and Grow Rich, which I highly recommend you consider reading if you haven't recently. Why start with a vision? You need energy to overcome challenges, to grow your business, to achieve those goals. Vision creates emotions which become energy in motion. A vision pulls you through small failures to work on long-term benefits and replaces busyness with clear aims of progress. A strong, motivating vision uplifts you to be more optimistic and to see opportunities around you with your mind. With your vision clear for the future of your business, it's now essential to share it with those who will help you to achieve it, your employees, who will become valuable contributors to your vision. Which brings us to the second golden key, team building and recruitment. Nothing truly great in business was ever achieved without a team. I want to give you a strategy now that is an incredibly powerful way to increase the productivity of your employees. This week, announce a team meeting. Have everyone get together and discuss their role and how they can do their job better. And you need to start this with yourself, talking about how you can do your job better, which is really helping and empowering and educating your team. And here's a red hot tip. Before the first meeting, disc profile your team and discuss the results in your meeting. Now, if you've never heard of disc profiling is the number one most beneficial topic to learn in business, second to none. It increases happiness, it increases sales, it increases your ability to hire good quality people that are an ideal match to the role in your business, and that improves your leadership skills and communication skills with all of your employees and also your clients. I'll explain more about what disc profiles are and the benefits of disc later in this video, so stay tuned as it's incredibly powerful. Here's an example of a team meeting result using disc profiles. This came from Jeffrey Van Dorr, who owns Upton Motors on the Sunshine Coast. After disc profiling my team and holding the first team meeting, my team suddenly became happier and more productive. Jeffrey knew that his team weren't working as hard as they could be. He tried various different things over 6 months with no real results. So this was a fantastic outcome which he couldn't wait to share with me after introducing this strategy during our course. A necessary part of building any team as your business grows is to be successful with recruitment. Having a system prevents being held to ransom by employees that you worry about being able to replace when they're not behaving the way that you want. An effective recruitment system requires these sort of ingredients. Number one, an understanding of employee motivators. For example, employees like to be recognized, appreciated, valued, and respected. By understanding words like that, then you get into the copywriting or the wording of the ad. Because the wording of the ad has to attract great attitude people, because I believe attitude is the number one trait that you're looking for in people, more so than experience. When you hire great attitude people, they're teachable, and it might take them a few months to get up to speed. However, they're very loyal and they stick with your business for a long time. Whereas when you detail an ad with lots of ingredients relating to experience, yes, you may get that experienced person, but then they want to do it their way. And if you're lucky, they'll work for you and they start talking about money very, very early on. That's the difference between focusing on attitude versus experience. So those ad writing skills are very necessary to attract that type of a person, because these people are not unemployed looking for a job. They're looking at the wording of the ad, looking for a good company to work for. Next, I recommend you ask them the phone, not email resumes, and say that on the ad, the last thing you tell them, because when you say that, the good attitude people will phone, the poor attitude people won't. They'll just email you their resume. Fantastic! They've just deselected themselves automatically, made it very, very easy for you. However, if you don't get the volume, you just reply back by email and say, as per the ad, we're not considering resumes. Please phone this number for the first step. Next, ask them 3 questions to identify their attitude. Now, with a system that we provide, those questions are already there and it's very, very easy. I won't go into the details of what those questions are because that's another 5 or 10 minute discussion as to why and how to ask it, etc. However, consider this as the best way to identify those attitudes by talking to someone instead of reading their resume, which I think is a waste of time until you get down to a couple of people. Conduct a group interview at night. Why group interview? Because the best people shine through. The ones that want the job the most will look the best in a group. Now, I've conducted group interviews for managers, for salespeople, for teenagers, for technical people, you name it. I've pretty much conducted group interviews myself or with clients, and it is the best way to identify the best people there is. It's a level playing field and the best people shine through. Not initially, but over time they do, because you're asking all that group the same questions and getting them to answer those same questions. Having it at night makes it easy for the great attitude people that are checking you out, which they do, and making it easy for them to come to the interview instead of trying to take time off work, which they don't like to do. And I consider a DISC profile assessment. It's not a test because you can't fail it. It's an assessment to see what sort of aptitude they have and suitability for the role in your business. That means you need to learn a bit about DISC profiles, but the clients that use this system that we give them with this ingredient, they love it. They understand how powerful it is to understand aptitude from DISC profiling. So there's 6 ingredients of a very effective system. I encourage you to think about this as a key to growing your business because of the power it gives you to build a fantastic team. The third and most important golden key is the magic of measuring. Comprehensive measuring identifies profit leaks and profit opportunities. The more you measure, the more you find ways to improve your business effortlessly, confidently, and rapidly. Measuring leads to KPIs for accountability for individual and collective performance improvements. Sharing your team's figures or scores for the week is essential, just like it is in any team sport. After all, the whole team knows the score for the game. The primary purpose of measuring is to increase your business's average gross and net profit margins. That's because when you increase the net profit margin, you automatically increase the amount of cash you have in your bank account. With more cash in your bank account, you can fund the growth of your business with marketing. You can even pay the wages of another person, which frees up enormous amounts of your time. It's the figure that makes your business viable and strong in any market. It's also the figure that when you raise it, you can pay yourself more because of the surplus of cash that your business now operates with. The net profit margin is the one figure that when you focus on it, gives you by far the biggest rewards. The profit and loss statement only shows the average, but what we need to identify in every business is what the range looks like. In business, you have income, you subtract the cost of sales, and you're left with gross profit. Now, what should be on a profit and loss statement in the chart of accounts is the labor cost under cost of sale in a service or manufacturing business. Gross profit is what covers expenses, and what's left is net profit. Therefore, using a similar principle, gross margin, which is a percentage of gross profit minus expenses as a percentage, equals net profit margin. And that is the magic formula of business. Increasing gross margin also increases the net profit margin. One of the most important questions in every service or manufacturing business is, what is your minimum gross margin goal figure, including employee wages as a cost of sale? What is the figure that you need to sell at in order for you to cover your expenses so you make a minimum net profit margin that's healthy? It's not a simple question to answer and can take an hour or sometimes 2 hours to really analyze your chart of accounts in your business to identify what should be in cost of sale and what shouldn't to get that accurate figure. Measuring gross margins in service work in a service and manufacturing business is extremely important. To do that, first of all, you divide all service work into service types. So for a plumber, for example, they would have leaky taps, broken pipes, sewer blockages, etc. They're the types of services that people would ring up about. That's the first and most important step in measuring your service types. Track all time on every job with every employee that's doing the technical work. Work out the total cost of employees on each job. Calculate gross margins on jobs, which is the sale price of the job minus the employee cost. And then collate all jobs by types for the week and month. So add up all the income from all the same types of jobs, the cost of sale for those same types of jobs, do that for the week and then do it for the month. Compare gross margins by types of services or jobs. Now, in nearly every service or manufacturing business, you have some types of work that are more profitable than others. We want to identify what those types of work are that your business performs, from the highest gross margin to the middle to the lowest. Because typically in business, 80% of the work that a business does is not that profitable, and only 10, 15 or even 20% is typically very profitable. And we want to identify all those different types and what those gross margins are. Share gross margins with employees in team meetings. Yes, the gross margin is like the game score. If two football teams or two cricket teams or any two sporting teams play against each other, there is a game score. And if you consider gross margin to be that game score, well, your employees need to know their game score on the jobs that they worked on and the overall business, because your employees are the ones that will help you to improve your business by knowing that score. What happens when you do these things? You become very aware of actual gross margins in your business, not the theory that you may quote at, but the actual. Seeing jobs over and under your minimum gross margin goal. That's why it's so important to identify what that minimum is to see if you're above or below it on every single job. You'll start to see trends, which are averages of gross margins by types of jobs. You may be shocked by what a huge range there can be from the highest to the lowest on the same types of jobs, because I've been seeing this for 15 years, ever since I taught business owners this concept of measuring gross margins with labor as a cost of sale on different types of jobs. You'll see jobs that are under the minimum and learn why so that you can prevent it in future. You also see trends of types of jobs that are high in gross margin so that you can focus your marketing to increase the leads for these types of jobs. Stop selling low gross margin jobs by client or type. You'll see where you're making losses potentially in some areas so that you can stop losing money on those job types. These strategies increase average gross and net profit margins by 5 to 20% in just months, which can and has added $120,000 to $600,000 more in bottom line net profit to dozens and dozens of clients' businesses by taking this approach. There's an incredible profit opportunity to be found in virtually every service and manufacturing business by getting into this process. There's a whole lot more to measuring than what I'm showing you here. We're looking at sales, we're looking at leads to find out your ROI on all your marketing spending, to look at cash flow, to look at cash flow forecasts, and understanding when you'll be low on cash in your business. I'd love to tell you all about these. However, with a time consideration, let's now move on to the fourth golden key, planning to achieve your goals. The priority of planning is to increase your business's net profit margin, which is the fastest way to increase profit and cash in your bank. Commonly, it's decreasing each year, with 94% of hundreds of clients I've worked with for over the last 12 years. Under 15% revenue is low for businesses over $700,000 in annual revenue. Smart planning and strategies can increase it 5% to 15% or more in just 1 to 3 months. For example, a $750,000 turnover plumbing company owner saw his net profit margin jump 18%, and it made him $120,000 more cash in just 1 quarter. Now, 15% may seem hard to reach if your business is at 0, 5% or 8%. And I'll tell you the truth, less than 5% of businesses in the majority of industries reach the 15% figure. However, you can reach it in nearly all businesses. There are 2 main aspects of increasing margins. Detailed measuring is where it begins of all aspects of your business, all areas of your business. And then analyzing to understand opportunities for strategies which need to be expertly executed. Knowing what the numbers mean and reading between the lines with them is where you start to see the opportunity. By working with both, clients have regularly improved their business from single-figure net profit margins to 15% and higher. Your success hinges on your willingness to learn, so you can benefit for the rest of your life. All it takes is 8 to 12 months to be free. Introducing business growth planning. Yours and every business can double its profits in 4 to 12 months by working on 8 key profit drivers with strategies. The 8 key profit drivers are increasing the number of leads, decreasing the lead to quote conversion rate, which saves time, increasing quote to sale conversion rates, increasing average client spending, raising your prices, increasing average number of spends per client in a year, increasing service work gross margins, and reducing expenses. These key profit drivers are built into a very powerful business growth planner tool. This is a screenshot on the most exciting part of this tool. Starting with your business figures for your lead to quote conversion rate, for your quote to sale conversion rate, for your average dollar sale, for your average number of transactions, for your service or production gross margin, and the number of leads your business generates each week. You also enter in your financial figures for your turnover for the year and net profit margin. We then choose a percentage change increase for your growth drivers, the ones that are relevant to your business. With just small percentage changes like you can see here, you start to see the accurate results that can be quite exciting. Here you can see the revenue has increased from $747 to over $1 million. The net profit is increased from $44,000 to $274,000. And the net profit margin is increased from 6% to 21.5%. Now, the figures that you're looking at are actual results that were achieved for a trade service business. The tool also includes employee hours after the increase. This tool is a lot of fun and quite accurate when I work with business owners to discuss their figures to identify their own profit opportunities. It's amazing just how easy it is to double or triple the profit of a business, just as you see here. The results that this particular business owner achieved didn't just improve his business, it improved his whole quality of life and put an end to stress forever. It comes down to focusing on strategies for increasing net profit margins. So here are 7 strategies to consider to increase your business's net profit margin. First of all, find profit leaks and wherever you have an assumption by accurate and innovative measuring. Start with those previous areas that I've given you on how to measure the service aspect of your business. Employee happiness strategies increases net profit margins. By running weekly team meetings and having your employees discuss their role in the business, you'll find over time that they get more productive. They think more for themselves, become more independent. Sell more. Conversion rates can be increased in nearly every single service business I've ever seen, and it comes down to investing in sales and customer service training. Get customers to come back using newsletters or offers. Don't just forget them after they paid you. Keep in contact with them regularly and you'll find you'll get a lot more referrals that cost you nothing. Increase referrals. Offer customers an incentive or gift if they refer another paying customer. This one strategy grew a mortgage broker's business by 50% in just 6 months. Raise your prices. Inflation is 3% a year. Are you keeping up with inflation every year? When was the last time you raised your prices? Yes, you may lose some customers, however the profit increase, as you'd see in this tool if you used it, more than offsets that potential loss of a few customers. And the 7th strategy is website optimization. It just simply gives you a greater ROI for the dollars that you've spent on it. You'd be amazed at how many ways you can increase the traffic and leads and phone calls and sales to your business without spending $1. And I'll share some of those secrets with you a little bit later when we get to secrets of sales and marketing. These are just some of the many strategies to increase net profit margins. In fact, there's over 10 more that we discuss in the Academy and focus you on the ones that match your business and situation. Create your own business growth plan. You're welcome to grab a simple copy of the Business Growth Calculator to plan to double your profits. Simply go to this URL. It's yours free with my compliments with training videos. However, this powerful tool may be withdrawn as an offer in future. With your business growth plan coming together with your top 10 strategies to double your profits in 6 to 12 months identified, it's time for structure to scale your business with systems for profit growth. There are 9 systems in total your business really needs as it starts to grow and evolve. The first one is induction systems. It's where you have a training system from the first day you hire a person to get them up to speed. The next one is a recruitment system, as I've touched on already. That is very necessary so your employees don't hold you to ransom in fear of not being able to replace them. The next one is a selling system, from the words that you use when you answer the phone to what you say to people face to face. Those words can have a profound effect on your selling ability and the prices that you can win sales at. Marketing, for example, email footers, logo, branding, proposal or quote forms, etc. All of those are ingredients of marketing, plus your website, etc. Technical service work training, when you hire an employee, training them the way you want them to be trained and keeping them accountable to the way you want jobs carried out. Admin and accounting systems, very, very necessary and very powerful to get your new employees up to speed very, very quick. Measuring and KPIs, as I've touched on already, it's essential to be tracking your leads, your sales, your conversion rates, your gross margins on jobs, etc. And from measuring these, you start to identify the KPIs or key performance indicators that each of your employees need so you can leverage your time and energy through those numbers and through your employees. 8. HR compliance. These are systems that are built that you can buy and access, like platforms such as Enable HR. Leadership, team building are critical systems that are often overlooked in businesses. How do you have the discussion with an employee that's thinking they deserve a pay rise? What systems do you use for that? What eligibility criteria do you have so that they're clear and you're clear on whether they're suited to the position or not? You'll see here that a lot of these 9 different systems are included in the Academy of Business Mastery, which saves you hundreds and hundreds of hours in trying to put this information and systems together yourself. Which one of these areas, which of the 9, needs your attention most? And why that particular one? I recommend you start working on it, whichever that one is that would benefit your business the most, because the work that you do to create systems is work you only need to do once and benefit from for years and years and years. The essential systems in every business include job descriptions, which documents the responsibilities of every person in their role. Organizational charts that show the relationship of people within your business. This becomes more and more important as your business gets beyond 6 or 8 or 10 employees. Key performance indicators for every role. Systemize 80% and humanize the difference. Some businesses go too far with their systems, trying to turn their employees into robots. In every business, there may be two roles that are occupied, and it's where one person's role overlaps a little bit with another person's role. And sometimes there's a gap between roles because the systems have not been finished to the best level. Now, you'll know there's a gap in the role because you'll hear someone or something along these lines. Why wasn't this task completed? It may be because the customer's let down, something wasn't ordered in, but it's where something is not carried out as a task that's hurting your business because of that. Now, if you've ever asked the question, why wasn't this job done, or why wasn't this task done, that's an indicator that there's a gap between the roles in your business. The other scenario that you commonly hear about is when someone, like an employee, may feel or say, why are you doing that job? I thought that was my job. That's where roles overlap. Now, both scenarios frustrate and annoy team members, and you'd be amazed at how many businesses have unhappy, frustrated, annoyed employees because of it. But the employees won't bring this to the attention of the business owner. They just work in the role, and sometimes that frustration leads to that employee resigning and going working for another business because they're fed up with the internal system inefficiencies. Now I'd like to introduce you to a scale by millions structure. This structure is what McDonald's used to build an empire by developing it over decades. You can put it into your business very, very quickly and start to see a benefit within weeks. Here it is. Start by holding those regular team meetings that I touched on in the second key. In your team meetings, start talking about numbers, as I talked about in the magic of measuring. By discussing numbers with your team every week, magical things start to happen. Your team become more accountable. Your team get a feedback loop to see how well they've worked on their tasks, on their jobs, or the jobs for the business within their week. That feedback loop is very, very powerful because we all like to feel we're making progress in life. In business, it's exactly the same. It's one of the major reasons why I get business owners to start tracking numbers every week. It's to create a feedback loop to see the improvement that comes from the strategies that they're using from the academy. Now, when you start running team meetings and you introduce numbers over the next few weeks, what will start to happen is it starts to reveal the need for systems or systems that aren't working. And that's very, very important. A lot of business owners I talk to have tried introducing systems straight away, and then they realize they've got a bunch of staff who don't really give a staff about using systems or the business improving. That's why I call them team members, because they're the ones that are going to help you to grow your business. They're the people that need to use the system. So what I found is by measuring before you start talking about systems, it identifies the need for it. It proves the need for systems. That's a great way of selling, if you like, or influencing your employees to get more involved with the need for systems. And numbers become the glue that gets your team members to use those systems as well. This is a structure that McDonald's developed over many years. They started off by hiring expensive chefs to cook their burgers. They systemized what they did as far as tasks to make those burgers. They quantified those tasks to get a time frame of how long those tasks should take. And then by doing that, they dropped the skill level of their employees more and more and more. Now McDonald's has this multi-million-dollar turnover business model that's run by teenagers, which if you're a parent, you'll know that's impressive because it's hard to get a teenager to clean up their room, let alone be significant in running a multiple million-dollar business. Using this structure, you'll find that your time frees up. Your employees step up, they become more motivated, and they enjoy coming to a team meeting every week when you hold them. Weekly team meetings with discussions on numbers and KPIs will keep your team willingly using your systems. And that's the beginning of you enjoying what I call business freedom. Freedom of worry, freedom of dependency of your business on you, and freedom to choose to work or not. With the structure in place, it's time to look at strategies that can really ramp up the growth of your business with sales and marketing. I want to start by simply defining the difference between sales and marketing. Selling is the verbal aspect of winning sales. Answering the phone, for example, talking face to face. It may be carried out by your employees out in the field while working to existing clients. It might be people that just carry out quotes, or it may be simply just you, the business owner. Marketing is the non-verbal component. Its purpose is to warm prospects up with a USP or unique selling proposition that is communicated through attractive, inspiring imagery and wording to build trust so that selling at higher prices than competitors is much easier. Have you ever paid for training on how to sell or how to market your business? I've found through that same question being asked to hundreds of business owners for 20 years, the answer 95% of the time is no, they haven't. It's the principle of you don't know what you don't know that holds every business back. For something so super important as sales and marketing, I'm always surprised at how few business owners have invested in training and what a remarkable difference it can make just by spending a matter of hundreds of dollars. Here's what sales training can do. I once met this builder called Bernie, and he started working with me one-on-one because he wanted to increase his sales. And in the second month of working with Bernie, this is what he said. Thanks to your sales training, I tripled my monthly sales from $30,000 to $90,000 for the month. And he was amazed that he could have that much growth that quickly, and he didn't have to spend $1 on advertising. Now, having trained over 2,000 people in the last 20 or so years in how to sell effectively, this is one of countless examples of what can happen just with some simple training. I'd like to now share with you the one major subject that I taught Bernie. I believe this is the number one subject that benefits every single business more than any other. And that number one subject to learn is to increase sales by learning about DISC behavioral styles. How it works is simple. All people are a combination of four behaviors. If they're what we call outgoing, for the sake of a simple definition, they're like a runner. Now, if you're running, you can be standing still and you can be sprinting in the matter of seconds. You can also change directions very quickly. And that's like half the population. They move fast, their minds move fast, they can change direction, they can change subject. They're very agile. And these are people that we call dominant or influence. Then we have the other half of the population that is more reserved. And they're more like thinkers. They like to think about what they do. They don't jump in and initiate really quickly like the runner. They contemplate things. They put more emphasis on their decision. And the reserved people what we call compliant or steady. Then we can look horizontally at either side. Now, the dominant and compliant people are what we call task orientated. They're more independent thinkers, they make their own decision, and they prefer to work on their own and make their own decisions. And then we have the influence steady, who are what we call people orientated in their mindset, which means they like to talk to people, they like to work with people, and they like to think in terms of we need to do this. So straight away, we have four different ways of thinking, four radically different behavioral styles. Now in sales, it's very, very important and extremely beneficial to be able to identify a person's DISC profile really, really quickly. And when you've had a bit of practice at this, you can learn to pick them in 2 to 30 seconds, even on the phone, with about 80% of people. It all comes down to one basic principle in business. People buy from people they like or relate to. In other words, people that they can trust or have rapport with at a level. Now, I could spend a couple of hours just going over this and going into it in a lot of detail. So I'm just going to give you a very, very brief run through. The dominant and influenced people tend to make decisions on the spot nearly every single time, as long as they're given enough information to base their decisions. They're not people that tend to think about making their decision later. They're like the runner. They move really quickly, they change their minds, they see things clearly and make a decision as a result. The compliant, steady people will nearly always say in a sales environment, "Thank you, I'd like to think about it." And they're not lying, that's just how their brains work. Now, dominant compliant people are very task orientated, which means they don't see friendliness as necessary in a sales environment, either as customers when they're buying or when they're selling. And that works great as a style of selling to the dominant compliant people, which is half the population. However, The influence steady people are the complete opposite. They like to like the people that they're buying from, and therefore they feel it's necessary for people to like them when they're selling to them, so they tend to come across as very friendly. Now, this tends to irritate the dominant and compliant people because they don't like friendly salespeople, because they're not one of those people-orientated, nice, friendly, happy people in a buying environment. So the influence steady people annoy the dominant compliant. The dominant and compliant don't feel a need to be friendly when they're selling to people. So that means the influence steady people don't like dominant and compliant people because they think they're boring. And then you have the dominant influence people in a sales environment. They tend to expect people to make a decision on the spot. That's great if they're selling to half the population that thinks like that. However, the other half don't like to feel pressured to make a decision. So they get annoyed by people that give them a brief and change directions really quickly when they're giving information over. And it's the opposite with compliant, steady people. When they're selling, they tend to labour on details and talk and expand a lot of their information they're passing on. Dominant and influenced people don't like that. It tends to irritate them. So what you have is a scenario where, in a workplace environment, you've got any one person being themselves is irritating to the other 3 out of 4, or 75% of the population. Can you see the benefits in learning about disc profiles? Learning about it means you stop irritating people by understanding their profile. So there are techniques with which to deal with each person and their disc profile, but it comes down to, if you don't know this, it makes it very hard to sell to everyone. It turns selling into an effortless process that is very enjoyable. Now, I want to introduce you to a basic illustration or an image that is a great way of representing a business and the opportunities that every business has to grow and improve. Here it is. Imagine a business is like this blue bucket, and leads are coming in the top like water's being poured into the top. However, businesses leak through inefficiencies, and the income that you generate is lost through cost of sales, you could say, employees, efficiency, overheads, etc. So the profit that the business realizes is only a small percentage of the total income or turnover of the business. Now, if you notice, the gold bucket on the left is a lot smaller than the gold bucket on the right. And that illustrates what I've been talking about throughout this training. The aim is to increase the net profit of the business without necessarily increasing leads or income for the business by plugging profit leaks. Notice there's less water leaking out of the bucket on the right. Strategies in the case of sales and marketing are about plugging leaks by increasing sales at higher prices, increasing leads, and the net profit. In the magic of measuring, I touched on strategies for increasing gross margins and what sort of things you need to measure. All those sort of things also plug the profit leaks. And when you plug a few profit leaks in a business, you can get a massive increase in profit. I want to share with you now some of the more super effective strategies related to the most common form of marketing there is, a website, and share some really good website optimization tips. The first one is about understanding people buy outcomes. So why not show a happy outcome? It's the very first image that anyone sees when they land on your website. Facts and research dating back decades has proven that the best photo you can have representing a business, offline or online, is a photo of happy people. I highly recommend you put one on your homepage as the very first big image that any website visitors see. The second one is use a meaningful, reassuring or enticing headline. A headline must do a few things. One, it must reassure people they're on the right web page. They need to understand the headline and how it represents the industry that you operate in. And it's great if it can entice people with a promise or a benefit as well. The third tip is talking their language. Use the word you and never use the word we. We is lazy when it comes to putting words on a page. People don't want to hear about you. They want to know what's in it for them. They want to know what you're going to do for them. So if you talk about what's in it for them in terms of using the word you, you'll get, you'll enjoy, you'll like. It's 2 or 3 or 5 times more powerful than the word we. Research has proven hundreds of times you is a better word than we, so here's a tip. Don't we on your website. Use the word you, your, you'll as much as you can and take the word we off your website completely. Number 4, never use all capital letters because people can't read them and will skip over them or get irritated by them and leave your website. This is such a basic principle of marketing. It's been around for decades, and yet today, people still use all caps regularly. Even singular words are harder to read than upper and lowercase words. So I recommend you take all caps, where there's all capital letters, take them off your website completely, even in your menu. All caps reduce reading comprehension by 67%. Track your stats is the 5th tip. Check your bounce rate of each page, not just your home page, but each page. See which page people are landing on and how long they stay there. Obviously, they're not staying there long. They're not interested with the wording that's on there or the imagery. Check the time on page for each page as well. The number of visitors to actual phone calls or leads that you get using Google Analytics. It's not hard to see how many people visit your website in any single week using Google Analytics for free. In business, it all comes down to 2 things, strategy and execution. The number one reason for slow business growth, which I consider less than 20% increase in profit per year, is due to the level of execution of the strategies that the business is currently using. From answering the phone to website content, every strategy can be executed or optimized so much better. And that's where experience kicks in. Measuring is where success begins. It leads to progress after tests. You can't improve on a number if you don't know what it is. You only need to learn 5 to 10 great strategies to see your net profit double. Now, when it comes time to scaling your business, because you've got a very profitable business and you want to really crank it up and double the turnover, then yes, you need some serious lead generation and selling strategies. And that leads us to management. To leverage your time. That's the 7th golden key to unlimited business success. Effective management is the ability to automate your business to grow profitably without dependency on you by mastering these 7 golden keys. Reviewing 6 figures with your team every week to see what's working and what's not is also what good management is all about. By looking at the 6 figures every week, all your decisions are quality ones because then they're based on facts. Facts give you confidence with the major decisions such as pricing. Wouldn't it be great to know that if you raised your prices, whether it affected your conversion rate and sales, and if so, by how much? Wouldn't it be great to have facts on hand to talk about your employees' performance and also marketing, whether it's likely to give you an ROI or whether it has or not? All these decisions lead to higher profit margins and more cash in the bank. This whole subject of measuring all started thanks to me seeing Rupert Murdoch's management report. What I'm about to show you is gained from insights of understanding how a billionaire thinks about businesses that he's not working in at all. What I saw were there are 3 areas of management reporting that you need to look at on a weekly basis. There's sales, there's a service work, and then there's cash flow. So you consider it like a business trying to be in balance, where there's a certain volume of sales that need to come in. Now take a business that's turning over $1 million. That's about $20,000 a week in sales that business should be bringing in as new sales, new business, as an average. Then, obviously, if you're selling it, you have to produce it or provide the service that relates to that sale. Now, in a $1 million business, again, we should be producing $20,000 worth of work on average, which means we also should be banking $20,000 in cash as an average each week. Now, what happens if we sell 40,000 and we produce 15? Well, we're not in balance in the business anymore, are we? And this is a challenge that a lot of businesses have. They're not tracking their numbers every week to see the status of where their business is. Business is simple, especially service businesses. It's about getting the work, which is sales. That needs to balance with doing the work, the service work, which is simply production. And being paid for the work. You need to be paid as well, getting cash in. Otherwise, if all 3 of these are not similar in figures every week, we start to stress. Those 3 legs that you're looking at contain 6 specific and powerful KPIs that create a strong indicator of the health of a business and its balance on all 3 legs every single week. That realization of understanding what Rupert Murdoch was wanting in his report led me to the development of a fantastic team performance indicator tool. This tool is a graphical representation of what's happening every week in the business, but not just 1 week, for 4 weeks at a time on all areas of your employees' performance. Here it is. On the left, you can see the wide green bands. So what you're seeing here is a scale from $10,000 up to $24,000 at the top in increments of $400 that represents those dollar figures. So the wide green band over here, this is sales. We can see the sales acceptance here is around the 16,400, and this is week 9. So if you have a look over here on the right, week 9 says 16,000 under the sales column, 16,200. That's been grabbed. Week 10 is 18,900. Week 11 is 19,200. Week 12 is 19,850. You can see there's this trend of sales going up, and this dotted line, horizontal dotted line, is the capacity of the business. So at the moment we've oversold on our capacity in week 9, week 10, week 11 and week 12. So if we've oversold 3 weeks, 4 weeks in a row, what does that mean? When you can see our dollar value of what the business is producing is about on par for the 4 different weeks. So we're overselling to what we can produce, and that means decision time. At about week 11, looking at these numbers, if I was working with this business owner and looking at this, I would have said at week 11, you need to hire someone. You're overselling what you can produce and you're about to get customer complaints because you're backlogging, and backlogging quite severely. And if you look at the narrow green band here, that's the number of leads. So leads turn into quotes, which turn into sales, or leads turn into sales. So if they're increasing, which they are significantly each week, this business trend is going to continue to outsell what it can produce. So this business right now is already understaffed. Now, if the business owner wasn't looking at these stats, they'd be reacting too slowly. They're probably paying overtime and losing profit from the time and a half or double time pay rates they'd have to pay to try and get through the workload. So when businesses are not tracking these stats, it gets expensive too. Here in the middle, we're also seeing the light blue is gross margin. You can see the gross margin tends to be trending up as well. The black here is the cash coming in. And the grey is overdue receivables, which means beyond invoice dates. It's getting a little bit high here in the week 12. So this tool's a very good way to see exactly what your business is doing by dropping 6 numbers in a row, and you'll notice it only plots 9, 10, 11 and 12 and then drops off the previous week. Within just seconds, you can see how employees in certain areas of your business are performing. And when you print this out and take it into a team meeting, your team know where they stand, they know the game score, if you like, the gross margin game score of the business, what sales are working, and each person in their department can relate to what the numbers are saying. With a tool like this in place, your business operates smoother with less stress for you. Your team are accountable each week, which starts to make your role redundant. And that leads to this very important question. Why are you in business? That's a big question because your answer is your vision. Your future level of business and life success comes down to your current choices of your vision. Only if you choose a vision where working hours is 100% optional can you experience it. If you don't think about that or don't believe it's possible, then it's never going to become a reality or a choice for you. If you had the choice, with peace of mind your business didn't need you, would you really want to work every day at trades? Would you prefer to be holidaying somewhere overseas with your family and taking a 2-month break completely worry-free? Or would you prefer to be at work, working 5 days a week, every hour your business trades? That's the vision that I'm talking about. We've almost reached the end of this training now, but I have one final question for you in a moment. You've been given the 7 keys to unlimited business and life success. You've seen examples of business owners who have experienced extraordinary results and quality of life improving outcomes. The choice is now yours. What will you do with the keys you've been given? Whether you stay where you are, which is great if you're happy, or make a step and experience a new way of living your life, it's up to you. And here's my promise to you. You can achieve your vision with the 7 golden keys. Whatever you've imagined your life could be like, whatever level of business you want to take it to, the 7 golden keys can assist and empower you to achieve that outcome. Would you accept my help for free? The reason I ask that is because it's normal to feel hesitant about going further. Nearly all my clients did. But the next step to learn more costs nothing and has no obligation. I'd like to offer you a breakthrough meeting to talk about your business and explore its huge profit potential. Just go to this URL where you can see my calendar and find the time that works for you and I. I'll give you 45 minutes of my time and answer any questions about the 7 golden keys, and I promise you'll get quality, detailed answers. Only if we both agree your business is suitable for the Academy of Business Mastery will we even talk about it. In order to maintain my company and courses 100% happiness reputation, I'm not going to push anyone into it, as that's the quickest way to destroy a great reputation. The Academy is one solution of many I can offer you, with some of them being free if that's the best next step for you. Don't put up with struggle when you had the choice to end it. Accept my breakthrough meeting offer so you're making an informed decision about it. I'd like to thank you for watching this video to the end. I hope to speak to you soon, and I genuinely wish you all the best with your future business success.